They counted you out, didn't they? They said it was over, that your time had passed, that you peaked too early, that failure was final. But here's the truth they forgot. Legends are never born in comfort. They are forged in fire. Think of Rocky Balboa, beaten down, mocked, too old, too slow. Yet in Rocky Balboa 2006, he stood back up, not to prove them wrong, but to prove to himself he still had something left inside. That's the first law of the comeback. You don't rise for applause, you rise because something in you refuses to stay down. In real life, look at Robert Downey Jr., a career destroyed by addiction, a name laughed at in Hollywood. But he didn't vanish. He rebuilt himself brick by brick and came back as Iron Man, not just in a movie, but in life. The greatest comebacks begin with a decision. I will not be defined by my lowest moment.
Rock bottom isn't the end. It's the beginning. Because at rock bottom, there's nowhere left to fall. Only one direction remains: up. J.K. Rowling was a single mother on welfare, rejected by 12 publishers. She wrote Harry Potter in cafes, not because she had time, but because she had purpose. She didn't chase comfort, she chased legacy. And when the world said no, she answered with one more try. That's the second truth of every comeback. Your future is not decided by what's behind you, but by what you do next. In The Dark Knight Rises, Bruce Wayne had a broken back, trapped in a pit. The world believed Batman was finished. But do you remember what he did? He climbed without a rope, with fear in his heart, but fire in his soul. Because sometimes you only rise when there's no safety net. Your greatest pain is often your greatest fuel.
Every champion has scars. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison. 27 years of silence, steel bars, and stolen time. But when he walked out, he didn't carry hatred. He carried vision. He rose to become the president of the very nation that once chained him. That's not just a comeback. That's a resurrection of purpose. And here's the third law of the comeback. Forgive the past or stay chained to it. The greatest return isn't just physical. It's mental, emotional, spiritual. Because while the world waits to see change, you must become it. In the pursuit of happiness, Chris Gardner slept in subway bathrooms with his son, but he refused to give up. Not because success was guaranteed, but because his why was too strong to quit. When your why is powerful, your how finds a way. Comebacks aren't built in moments. They're built in decisions repeated daily. Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles, one of the worst injuries in sports. As he limped off the court, fans thought it was over, but he came back. Not just because he was great, but because he was obsessed with becoming greater. He didn't wait to feel ready. He trained when it hurt, practiced when no one watched. That's the fourth truth of the comeback. Discipline is louder than doubt. Every rep in silence, every tear behind closed doors, every time you choose to keep going, that's what rewrites your story. In Gladiator, Maximus had everything stripped from him, his family, his honor, his rank. But he fought back, not for revenge, but for justice. His comeback wasn't just personal, it was principled. The greatest comebacks don't just change the person, they inspire generations.
Every time you rise after falling, you rewrite the ending. Not just for you, but for everyone who watches, wondering if they can too. That's why your comeback matters. It's not just about success, it's about transformation. The version of you that crawled through pain is not the same one that walks into victory. You were broken, but not beaten. You were knocked down, but not counted out. In the Bible, Job lost everything, family, wealth, health, but he never lost faith. And in the end, he was restored with double. Because comebacks aren't just revenge on life, they're a reward for endurance. So let them laugh, let them doubt, let them sleep on your silence. Because soon, the world will witness your roar. And when they ask how you did it, look them in the eye and say, I refused to stay down. I became the storm. There's a moment in every comeback when the world forgets your name, when no one calls, no one checks, and the lights are off. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Muhammad Ali was banned from boxing at the peak of his career, stripped of his title, mocked for his beliefs. For 3.5 years he was in exile, but he trained in silence, in shadows, in solitude. Because here's the comeback truth most people never understand. The world will doubt you right before it remembers you. Ali returned not just to fight, but to reclaim everything they tried to bury. And in the rumble in the jungle, against all odds, he knocked out George Foreman and reminded the world, greatness doesn't disappear. It reloads.
You say it's hard? Good. It should be. Pressure made Michael Jordan. Cut from his high school varsity team, he was told he wasn't good enough. But instead of quitting, he doubled his effort. Every missed shot turned into practice. Every failure became fuel. That's the formula. Pressure plus persistence equals power. Jordan didn't just come back from rejection, he came back from retirement twice. And each time, he came back stronger. In The Lion King, Simba ran from his past, from shame, from guilt. But life kept calling him back, because the throne was his. He just had to remember who he was. You don't find your power, you remember it. That's what your comeback is, a reminder to yourself that greatness never left you. It just got buried under doubt. Your body may break, your bank account may go to zero, your friends may vanish, but if your mind stays strong, you're still in the fight. Viktor Frankl survived the Holocaust, lost his family, watched death every day. But he said, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. That's the fifth truth of comebacks. Rebuild your mindset before you rebuild your life. Your mind is your battlefield. It tells you when to quit or when to keep going. Feed it with pain, and it will weaken. Feed it with purpose, and it becomes unstoppable. So read the books, watch the stories, surround yourself with fire, because your next level won't come from wishing, it will come from working. Every scar tells a story, and the deepest ones, they're not on the skin, they're in the soul. But here's the twist. Those invisible wounds, they become superpowers. Bethany Hamilton lost her arm to a shark attack, a surfer's nightmare. But she returned to the ocean stronger, more fearless. Her comeback wasn't about winning medals. It was about proving something bigger. What tried to destroy her made her invincible. And that's you. Your loss, your heartbreak, your failure, it didn't end you. It shaped you, hardened you, polished you like stone under fire. In Batman Begins, Bruce falls into the well as a child. But what does his father say? Why do we fall, Bruce? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. Every comeback is a choice to get back up, no matter how many times you've fallen.
One day, someone will tell your story. Will they say you quit when it got hard, or that you kept swinging when no one believed? Because make no mistake, your comeback isn't just about now, it's about legacy. Oprah Winfrey was abused as a child, fired from her first TV job, told she wasn't fit for television. But she didn't settle. She didn't break. She built an empire. And now, her name is etched in history. In Creed, Adonis is haunted by his father's legacy. He fights, not just to prove himself, but to find himself. That's the final law of the comeback. You don't rise just for you, you rise for everyone who ever doubted, everyone who ever struggled, everyone who needs proof that comebacks are real. Because the world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more proof that you can fall and still rise. Some comebacks don't begin with fire. They begin in ashes. Everything crumbles. The dream, the relationship, the health, the hope. You're left staring at the broken pieces, asking, how do I rebuild? You start small. You pick up the first piece. Like Tom Brady, who was drafted 199th overall, told he wasn't fast enough, strong enough. He sat on the bench, forgotten. But he prepared, quietly, patiently. Then when the chance came, he seized it with both hands and never let go. 7 Super Bowl rings later, he's proof that your beginning does not define your ending. In Avengers Endgame, Tony Stark faces a shattered world, half of existence wiped out. But they didn't quit. They planned. They failed. Then they tried again. Comebacks are not perfect. They are persistent. Before the world sees your rise, you must face your own reflection. Ask yourself, do I still believe in me? Because the most dangerous voice isn't the one outside, it's the one inside your head whispering, "You're done." But remember the Matrix. Neo didn't become the one because Morpheus believed. He became unstoppable the moment he believed in himself. That's when every chain broke. Your comeback will require you to slay your inner critic, to silence that voice that says, "I can't," and replace it with, "Watch me." You don't need a crowd. You need conviction. You don't need motivation. You need a mission. And when you finally lock eyes with the version of you that never gave up, you'll remember who you were born to be.